Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Campus Care Ed Talks. Ed Talks is a platform where educators come on board and and express their viewpoints on the topic related. And today's topic is the rising popularity of bite-sized learning. And we have with us Mrs. Kulvinder Kaur, Principal, Guru Harkishan Public School, Tilaknagar. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Sakshi.
So good to have you here, ma'am.
Yeah, same here.
Ma'am, to start off with the session, I would first like to put it across with you. What is bite-sized learning?
Bite-sized learning. I think this is first of all, I'd like to think that it's a metaphor. Metaphor means it's a comparison where we are comparing it with food. Or it's always said that when you're eating, you should take small bites and you should chew your food properly. So similarly, bite-sized learning is taking small bits of food or learning. Here, the food is learning, chewing it properly so that digestion is good. So this is a metaphor, and this comparison is there because it's very easy to understand as the name, the words, show us bite-sized learning. So it's not learning at a go when we are supposed to sit for 45 minutes or 1 hour and start learning. So we have the facility to break our attention span into smaller durations so that the child learns better, and probably the teacher also has doesn't have a huge task of trying to impart all the information in one go. So she can do it gradually into smaller modules, and so that the child conveniently and with a more focused way is able to imbibe what is being taught to him or her.
Absolutely, ma'am. So, ma'am, can bite-sized learning improve attention span of the student?
Yes, of course, because as per our brain physiology is concerned, we all know that attention span of most of the people is around 15 to 20 minutes. So that is why I think this, as the social media, and there are so many other distractions which are occupying, a new plethora of information is coming our way, to everyone. So it is very difficult because there's so many distractions are there. How to be focused, how to retain things and learn things and keep so much when there is so much of information around what to do, how to learn, how to remember, and how to understand things. So like in YouTube, smaller YouTube clips or reels, which is and children are this thing are this generation is mostly uh, making. Why they are more popular? Because what happens is, yes, a smaller when information is given in a small bite or in a smaller duration, it is more interesting and more a focus can be given, and child can and anybody who's having a lesser information in hand to digest will be able to do it properly. So I think it does help in retention, increasing the focus, and at the same time, it helps the teacher also that she can break the knowledge or the learning or the lesson into smaller modules and keep it ready, and the children can conveniently at their own pace. That is very important. Every child learns in his own way. They don't learn the same way. There can be a child who understands everything very quickly, but there may be other children who require a little more time, who don't have that kind of focus and attention, who find it very difficult to be focused and attentive for a very long period. So for those children, it is very, very convenient that they can and imbibe this information. They have it is in chunks, it's in modules, it's in smaller bites, and they can take one bite, rest, then continue with the next bite, and probably learn rather than no learning taking place at all, because there is a lot of pressures to learn and deliver. It's better to go in for a bite-sized, small modules of learning capsules which are being given, which are delivered by the teacher, and they are available for the children at the same time.
Absolutely, ma'am. So, according to you, does bite-sized learning look promising in the longer aspect, or if you look at it a bigger picture? So, do you think bite-sized learning will, have a better impact and a promising role to play?
Yes, I think so, because like I told you, presently there is a lot of information, there is a lot of distractions, and even and our brains are wired that way, that I mean, we know maximum focus is like, the physiology, like considering the how the body is made, like, we cannot expect that we can be glued to the this thing for a longer period, right? So that is why it is, I think that is the need of the hour, that this term has come up, and this methodology or the pedagogy has come up, so that we are able to help the children and deliver the lessons, and in a simpler way, and in a slower way, slow and simply simple, that's it. So rather than just huge this thing of information coming, and a lot of facts and figures being told to the child in one go. So it's always better that the child is given time, and the teacher also. I think it will become easier for the teachers also. It is. I mean, it should not be considered negatively that maybe the children are slow learners or something. That should not be confused with that kind of this thing behavior, because learning is something which is personal, individual. The pace of learning is individual. A class of 30 student to 40 student is not expected to learn at the same pace, the way the teacher is delivering the lesson. The teacher comes with a prepared lesson and delivers, and she uses the chalk and the talk method, and she expects the child that the child will pick up and just immediately learn. But I think scientifically this is not correct. That is why probably new experiments and new ways are being found by the educationists and researchers to how to what improvements can be made. And NEP probably, which is coming up, that also is focusing more on project based learning, more on this thing, smaller this thing, and more so that learning by doing, and learning by understanding things. So I think we are moving away from the conventional and traditional way of teaching and learning to all these new ways, which are scientifically more this thing to our body also, according to our brain and the development of the brain and the need of the hour. Because what is it? Previously, the pace of the life was slow. I mean, there was maybe a newspaper or maybe a TV somewhere, where people were just getting that information. Now, every child is carrying a tab, is carrying a phone, and especially after the pandemic, I think the phone became mandatory for every student. So, what has happened is it's not just the phone with the lessons, other information, the YouTube and all, everything is so accessible to every child. So, what is happening naturally? The books have and the learning which we were doing from the books is important, but actually it has taken a backseat. So considering that, what has happened is because of so many distractions and so many other things where the children are occupied, so attention of the child needs to be recaptured. It has to be recaptured. He has to be brought back to the behavior, the focus of what we are trying to teach. So probably this is one way, one of the ways by which we can retain the child and retain the attention of the child, help him to learn better by giving him specific knowledge and not all knowledge at one time. So it is the work of the teacher also now, because teacher should be able to break her lessons in various modules and various capsules and various chunks or nuggets. Various words which are linked with food are being associated with this. Like I said in the beginning, it's a metaphor. So it is bite-sized learning. It is like biting food in small bits and chewing it properly so the digestion takes place. Learning is not just writing on the copies and doing the homework in the classroom. So lifelong learning, that aim is lifelong learning takes place. A child understands and is able to retain whatever he has learned, is able to use that knowledge and information in a creative way for critical thinking, for analysis, for lifelong, his life can be improved by that learning. So, in order for that to happen, we need the learning to be consistent and permanent. So probably rather than that is why this the focus now has shifted on rather than on just delivering, lot of information at one time, to break it down, and so that the digestion is good and children are able to understand. Children or adults, whosoever is going into it, are able to understand and retain it better.
Absolutely, ma'am. But what do you think? Just a small question that I would like to ask is, ma'am, what do you think? Does it reduce the attention span, or do you think that the attention span, because of the social medias that we use, have relatively lower down the, one should initially we must be having, because nowadays we are just restricted to the shortest content possible and with the quickest way. So, is it because of that, or is it because of that or something else?
Yes, you're right. It is because of that. It is, we just cannot, deny this thing. This is the root cause of it, first of all. And secondly, like physiologically, like when we say, "Ki, what is the attention span of a normal human being, average human being?" So, as we are understanding our lives better, as more research is going on into things, so probably the distractions have come to stay. We cannot deny that the distractions are not there, and there's a plethora of information is there, which is every day. Knowledge is being replaced by new knowledge every 3 hours, probably not even 3 hours, quicker than that, because so many brains and so many eyes are always, even one small thing on social media, one line, what is happening? So many people are commenting, so many people are thinking on that, they're giving their views on that. So what is the mostly, and everybody is occupied in all these various social platforms. Everybody is occupied, so we cannot deny that. So consequently, what has happened is, in the class when the teaching and learning in a conventional way is going on, it becomes very difficult for the teacher to retain the attention of the child. And children are, because what is it, what we see, it is more interesting, and it is more this thing which is more interesting, and children are more lured by that rather than just reading out from a book and all. So we are the teachers, the educationists, and all the teachers are having a difficult task, and it is a challenging time to how to handle. But I think we have been able to handle both the platforms very the physical mode and the virtual mode, and the balance is I think being brought in, and most of us are, I think this also is the byproduct of that attempt to balance the hybrid mode, or the virtual and the physical mode, so that we are able to cater to the needs of the children in every possible way. So I think that it is going to stay, and it will help the children also, and it help the teachers also.
Absolutely, ma'am. But what, like you recently said that it is because of the fact that we have that offline, and the offline was traditional, but nowadays we are into online, so the hybrid mode. So, ma'am, okay, we understand the attention span of somebody who's is trying to shift back to their original sense of offline system. What do you want to talk about for the students who've entered with the online mode of learning?
This is what I'm saying. Whether they've entered or they've already entered, or whether even before the pandemic,
Right,
whatever has happened is, even before the pandemic, this social media was a threat rather, or was distraction. It was a huge distraction. Already that had happened. So
right.
this generation already has been exposed to so much of social content, which is available anytime, everywhere. So we cannot just deny that. We just cannot forget that it's not there. and pandemic, that online thing which was required, that has increased a little bit more. So what has happened is, what is the best, like necessity is the mother of invention, so it is necessary now that we find out some kind of ways and means, so that whatever is available, how to sift right from wrong, how to do the work which is required to be done, how to teach the child in spite of the learning he's taking from other sources, and how to see that at least the child is attentive in the class. So that is why it is ICT technology has taken over, and it is come to the classes in a big way. So it is, we are having high tech classes. We are talking about social media as a platform for learning. We are not saying it's a platform for distraction, because learning as it is taking place. And rather than, what is there to stay, it's best to adopt, modify, and use it in a better way, so that that information, whatever is available, can be used. So that is why so many apps have come up. So many, I think, the whole world has moved on to app learning. So many modules are there, and everybody is using those resources which are readily available, so that now we don't have to find out an Oxford dictionary to find out a meaning of a word. One click and we know the meaning. We know how it is being pronounced, how to use that word, how to pronounce that word. So only thing is that what is happening is the lessons which are already there and the information is already there. How to see that the children who have, are quick, methods, who are finding those quick methods of learning, who are using those methods, how to retain their attention. So this BISAT learning has come up and it will stay. And it's not that it's only for students who are weak or slow learners or nothing. I don't believe that. Everybody will benefit, and it will continue, because like even when I was a student, I remember I used to break my, I used to make notes of the lesson teacher had given. I had a full this thing, booklet of history notes, my English notes, and this note. So what is note making? Note making is this only, that bite-sized learning. We are breaking the information, picking up the main points and using those points to learn and remember. So in between, fill in the blanks, whatever is required for the exams, that can be done later.
Absolutely, ma'am. So it is like, we are adopting and transforming our education system and using social media hand in hand to have a better impact and a positive impact to all the students out there. Thank you so much, ma'am, for, imparting and sharing your knowledge and experience. And indeed, it was an insightful session wherein we have come across a lot of things that weren't, available. I mean, I never knew that, we can, come up with such great, stories, not only for students but for kids, like even infants are being taught with mobile phones in their hands, the initial rhymes and everything which were initially or traditionally told, ratified by our parents.
No,
So
one thing, even that, if you remember the nursery rhyme you're talking about, those books were very colorful, you know.
absolutely
So it was like the print of the, like, why did we enjoy learning at that time? Because people know that learning will take place when there is something bright, colorful, beautiful,
glossy,
interesting in front of you.
yeah,
No, just a paper with a lot of words written with a huge book is not going to, for that you require a lot of training, so that the mind is focused and then you can do. So
right,
initial beginning is like that only. So learning that is why to draw the child into, what was it? If you, like, you give a book, a fairy tales book to a child, and he will sit engrossed, because that is captivating.
right,
Similarly, social media is captivating, and learning is taking place from there. But to find out the how to incorporate the learning, which are classroom learning, which is mandatory, how to incorporate that, how to utilize, how to see that also takes place. So bite-sized learning probably is one of the pedagogy which can be used by the teachers to help the students, so that their focus is retained, their attention is there, it is flexible. Suppose that teacher breaks the lesson into four chunks or four modules. First module is given, then second is given, third is given, fourth is given. A child has the freedom to pick up any. He can
Hmm.
learn the last part, maybe that is one more interesting. He was able to relate to that and then understand the next three steps. So in between, it is very flexible, and that way. But teacher has to be, how to deliver that in a comprehensive way, how to select the topic. She has to be very selective. She has to be selective, and the work has to be done so that the whole knowledge can be encompassed into that small thing, and whatever is more the most important information or all the significant this thing, this topics are picked up, and child understand things and is able to retain that.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so very much, ma'am, for such an insightful and indeed a great session with you. We are looking forward for much more sessions like these, and with some interesting topics and some interesting things to talk about. So I, Sakshi, host of the show, would like to say sign off and say goodbye and have a great day.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.